right.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to be back here at Mount Stillman. Thank you, Yvonne, and thank you, Pastor. Thank you all for being here, and I enjoyed being here last time. So, yeah, I did major in classical piano, and that's my main thing, and I thought I might tell why it is I play so much gospel. Today's going to be all gospel. And it goes to my parents, and I joke about this. Both of my parents are immigrants. My mother came from Russia, and it's through her and her side of the family that I grew to love classical music. My dad is also an immigrant from Southern Virginia. And it's, while I was growing up, he always was telling me, well, when are you going to play some real music? And so pretty much that's how that started. Another story I love to tell is Kent Dixon, who you might know. He's what a brilliant genius singer he is, and a great guy too. We play together a lot. And one of the first times I played over at the concert series, the chapel concert series, he called me up, and you know, even the way he talks is musical. And I can't quite do his accent, but he said, Robert, I can hear your Southern country upbringing in every note you play. And I said, Kent, I'm terribly sorry to tell you I grew up in New Jersey. But I had my dad, so he always reminded me, you know, you're not really from here. So I love that Kent Dixon said that. And add to that, this is going to be the first time I'm going to do it, ties into, I lived in Texas for a long time, studied in Texas. And you pick up the culture there. And there's a certain kind of gospel music that's influenced by the Texas, I don't know, the cowboy style. And that's how I'm going to play this first hymn, Just As I Am. I'm going to play with maybe a little hint of Willie Nelson. I don't sing, I can't, but I mean, with some of that style. He was Methodist, he grew up Methodist, you know. The story of the hymn, I have my cheat sheet because I don't remember some of the names. It's written by a lady named Charlotte Elliott in 1835. And she was kept awake at night, every night, by anxious thoughts. Maybe some of us can relate to that. And the words, just as I am, came to her. Lord, take me just as I am. And I love that, and that's the music, so I'm going to play it. This handy so I don't talk too much. I'm like Goldilocks, and I'm going to remove this. There's a little rattling going on. So the next one, I'll just put this over here. I'm going to do something a little more upbeat now. I like to mix it up with the different styles. This is an old hymn, The Lily of the Valley. And the story behind it is kind of interesting. It was written by Ira Sankey in the year, did I even write, 1881. Ira Sankey didn't really write it, he sort of adapted it from a popular tune at the time. And that tune is called The Little Old Cabin in the Lane. That's what it is, the original. And I'm gonna do this in the style my dad likes, a little bit of country. So this, I might move this. I like the cushion, but it actually was sliding a little, so I felt like I was, whoop, going there, so. Thank you. Me too. And the whole time I was growing up in New Jersey with a Russian mom and uncle and everything, that's the kind of music I was listening to and playing too. So this is kind of funny how you realize the two cultures, they're really not that different. And it boils down to, first of all, love of food, that's one big thing, it's the same. And long stories. Both of my parents will do that, and I may have inherited that trait. That's why I keep the watch handy, because my wife will point out to me about that. So now I'd like to play a spiritual. And the spirituals, the African American spirituals, come from a very painful time in history, from slavery. And the meaning of the spirituals was first of all religious. but also connected to the idea of freedom, the Underground Railroad, too, such as this one, "We Are Climbing Jacob's Ladder." This has been sung by so many great musicians. Paul Robeson sings it beautifully, for example. So I'm going to play my version. I add a little bit of some little more modern sounding chords sometimes, but we'll see how that goes. So. Now I'd like to play a hymn that's relatively recent compared to all these others. This was written in 1973 by Squire Parsons, very famous, "Sweet Beulah Land." I wasn't sure if this would work on solo piano, but when I heard Kent Dixon sing it, I had to try. But you should hear him sing it. It will make you cry. It's just out of this world. And I was really sad around the time I started playing this. It was back in May of this past year, and around that time I found out that Squire Parsons had died right in that time. And the story of how he wrote it is really interesting. He taught high school in West Virginia, where he was from. And he would have to drive to school very early, and as the sun was coming up, and the song just started coming to him as he drove. And he would get to his classroom earlier, and he would just scribble down the music and words, and that's how it came up. That's how he wrote it. It sort of wrote itself through him. Bach would say things like that too. He would say, "It's not me, it's being written through me by God." It's really something. So here is a solo piano version of "Sweet Beulah Land." like to do something that was very popular in the 50s and 60s during the civil rights movement. Mahalia Jackson used to sing this all the time, and it's called How I Got Over. And what happened with a lot of the music in the civil rights movement, it's African-American gospel, started with its roots in the spirituals in the 19th century. Just like I played We're Climbing Jacob's Ladder. And in the 20th century, it sped up a little bit. It got a little more rhythm, and there was also the Great Migration, where many African-American folks were moving from the South to places like Chicago, and the pace of life was just different in Chicago and New York. Mahalia Jackson was born in New Orleans, but she went to Chicago, spent most of her life there. And so this is more out of that tradition of Chicago Southern gospel. It's more proof that you can be from New Jersey or Chicago, but it's still gospel, it's still Southern gospel. So here is How I Got Over. It sounds like the blues, but it's not the blues. Mahalia Jackson wouldn't like people to say that. She would say, no, we did it first in gospel music. And she's probably correct. So here it is. To play one that I've just recently started playing. I mentioned Willie Nelson, and I love Willie Nelson, his music, and he was more well known as a songwriter before he started performing a lot more. People thought his singing was weird in Nashville, at least, and they went back to Texas, and it just fit because his singing style was more of a Texas thing, maybe. But he wrote many beautiful songs, including gospel songs, like this one I'm going to do, Family Bible, which recalls growing up as a Methodist, as he did in Abbott, Texas. You know, he saved that church there about 20 years ago, I think. Abbott United Methodist Church was facing, they were going to close them. And he found out about this, and he just, sent them money and did a big benefit concert there. And the church is still going today, thanks to him. So here's Family Bible. I'm going to do a couple more here, more peppy ones. This is The Unclouded Day. And the story behind this is, it's a great one. I have to check the names again because the names will escape me. Reverend Josiah Kelly Allwood. I love that name. It's a great name. He wrote it in 1879 after a theological argument with a seminary friend, another pastor. So Reverend Josiah was living in Ohio. His friend lived in Michigan. He'd gone over there and spent many hours debating late into the night, and he got back into his horse carriage to go home, and he fell asleep. And I was also thinking about, people talk about driverless cars now. Well, horse carriages, you can just sleep and the horse will know where to go, so maybe old things are better, but that's another subject. That I just was thinking about that recently. But he woke up about like 2 a.m. and he looked up and he saw a perfectly clear sky, and he wrote this. It's just amazing how these people will write these songs. They just come to them. Maybe it's not from them really. That's the point, I think. So here's The Unclouded Day. This I'm gonna countrify it quite a bit. So. peppy one, and it'll be quick because it's very fast. Very fast. It's so peppy and fast that the first time I heard it, I thought it was music from the Benny Hill TV show, one of the chase scenes, but it's not that. It's a Mosey Lister song called Goodbye World, Goodbye. And sometimes I'll wonder, why are some of the gospel songs that are about dying so upbeat? I'll fly away. Well, it's because of, you know, what's coming after. That's the idea of it, why the music is that way, why it's that peppy. And yeah, so I'm going to play Goodbye World, Goodbye. Mosey Lister wrote it in 1952, so it's relatively recent. And there was a great pianist, gospel pianist on the Gaithers who played it, Anthony Berger. He played this. There's even one video I saw, they put a fake smoke machine when you, it just fits because it's so, get the blood flowing back to my fingers, and then I'll do that. Goodbye World, Goodbye by Mosey Lister. Mosey Lister was not related to Hovey Lister, no relation. It's kind of interesting. I was playing this and speaking about Mosey Lister, George Beverly Shea, all these guys, they lived to be, I don't know, over 100, all of them. And then you contrast that with Schubert, who died at 31, Mozart died at 35, and somebody in the back stood up and they said, maybe you ought to play a little more gospel and classic. So here is Goodbye World, Goodbye by Mosey Lister. Thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you soon.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry?
I was wondering, you took your eyeglasses off to see the keyboard.
Yeah, because I'm near. What's the one where you don't see well far away?
Myopia.
That, I guess, yeah. Because it would throw me off. But seeing you far away, I see with these, and then, yeah, I wouldn't see the piano keys moving. That's why. So,
We really enjoyed it.
thank you.
You are
Thank
Oh,
you.
amazing.
Oh, good, I'm glad to hear it. Me too, me too. All right, I will,
Ready for blessing?
Yes, please.